tell if it's like the rainfall just...
Well then.
Oh! I sure got one.
What is this?
I mean, the storm was so bad that a mouse actually got into my truck and chewed.
On November 21st, 2025, deep in the Australian bush, Mincy from the channel Mincy Outdoors headed out on another solo camping adventure. Her content usually shows peaceful nights, basic bushcraft tasks, and the calm routine of living quietly in nature. But on this trip, she walked into the forest as the weather shifted, carrying only a small tent and a few essentials, unaware of how fast a calm outing could become something far less predictable.
I'm gonna start looking for a spot to camp because I think the rain's gonna set in really soon and it could be heavy. There's a really long poo here. I don't know if it's from a snake or something, but it's got a real big casing on the outside. Could also be intestines of some animal. I'm gonna break it open and see what's inside. It looks like grass. Maybe it's a kangaroo or something. This looks like a pretty nice spot to set up my camp. Right next to the water. It's going to be a bit hard to find a straight stick around here for my tent. It's like tick territory in here as well. Maybe like here.
She made her way into the bush before the rain arrived, looking for a camping spot as the clouds grew darker. Along the trail, she noticed a long line of grass-filled droppings, assuming they came from a kangaroo. A bit farther in, she came across an open patch beside a small stream and chose it before the weather worsened. But the area had other surprises in store.
Big hole in the ground over here. I'm going to show you. What is it? Is there some creature that lives in there? I wonder if it opens up on the other side. Can you see anything down there? I'm going to climb down and see if I can see in the bottom of this hole. It's starting to rain. Oh! I sure got wet. I can't get back up. Dang it. It's like really jamming in there. There we go. Ooh, it's like semi-wet inside, but it's a little bit dry. Oh, my GoPro fell over. What are you doing over here? Fucking GoPro. I put my finger on the lens. I need to go get my rain jacket. Getting too wet out here. Oh, don't fall in the hole.
While checking the surroundings, she found a deep hole in the ground and climbed down for a closer look. The first drops started falling soon after, turning into a steady downpour. As she tried to climb out, the wet dirt made it slippery, but she pulled herself up and headed back to her setup. The storm was only getting started.
Oh my god, there's a big jumping jack on my bag. Don't bite me. They're usually pretty aggressive. Look at him, he's like, "Wah, wah. Please go off my bag." He's jumping. God damn it. Please. I just want to get my rain jacket. Okay. I don't know how to tie a knot. You guys are always telling me new knots I should try, but I'm telling you, they don't stick in my brain. They disappear after 10 minutes. Well, anyway, that should hold for one night at least. So now when it's time to make a fire, I should have a bit of room so I don't have to go too close to the tent. Oh shit, danger. I think these are edible. So it's growing from this grassy plant. This is a blue flax lily berry. It tastes tart, like everything in the Australian bush. But also kind of like grapey. I'm gonna have to dry all of this out a bit because it's all very wet. It's all stuck to me. I'm feeling this is gonna be a smoky fire today. These are all wet. Time for some warm tea. Dry my feet off. Ooh, it's a bit scary now. Hope there's not going to be too much lightning and thunder. I'm getting a bit smoked out in my camp there. Lucky it's not stringy asparagus. I don't want to ruin my knife on the pot lid. Home sweet home. Maybe it was lightning. Ooh, that looks pretty grey what's coming this way. And sounds grey too. Ready. Well, it's not much, it's a pretty simple meal, but after spending most of the day in the rain, it's going to be nice and warm. Adding garlic is always the best idea. Are you ready for this dessert? It's a very Australian themed dessert tonight. I've got Milo. I don't know if you're familiar with Milo, but it's like choc malt drink. Next ingredient is Tim Tam. I don't know if they have Tim Tams everywhere in the world. This is an Australian dessert known around the world as the Tim Tam Slam, and I've actually never tried it before. I swear I am Australian, but I'm going to give it a go on YouTube for the first time. So start by biting the corners off, and I'm told this can get very messy, so I'm prepared for that. The goal is to try and suck the hot chocolate through the Tim Tam. I do not see how this is going to work, but here goes. Oh my god, it actually works! I can't believe it! But it's melting in my hands! Ah! Okay, it works for about 2 seconds and then the thing just melts and then you have to eat it melted. Very small amount of Milo coming through the Tim Tam. I think this is a bit of a flop, to be honest. I prefer to just eat the Tim Tam when it's crunchy.
While arranging her gear, a jumping jack ant attached itself to her pack, one of the more aggressive insects in the region. She dealt with it quickly, aware of how painful their sting can be, then kept setting up her tent as the rain continued to fall around her. Wind and thunder followed, shifting the mood of the night into something more uneasy. As evening settled in, thunder echoed through the trees. She kept her fire burning just long enough to cook a simple meal and warm herself. Later that night, she finished the day with a Tim Tam Slam, laughing at how fast the biscuit softened.
What a beautiful morning. I don't think there's a 5-star resort that can top this. It's beautiful this morning. They might be able to top my oats though. Some wallaby tracks. It's really sticking to the path. I've got the nice big pods on the banksia tree. You can eat the seeds inside them. This nice big seed pod. You can see the seeds in here. Once it dries out, they'll open up and then the little tiny seeds will fall out. You can actually also cook them in the fire and then they'll open up and you can eat the seeds. You can hear a wallaby back there.
By morning, the storm had moved on, and she spent the daylight observing the land, tasting the sweet resin of a grass tree, studying banksia plants, and spotting wallaby tracks before packing her things. Some viewers pointed out that the Australian bush is full of hidden dangers: ants, spiders, and animals that burrow beneath the soil, rarely noticed. Others mentioned how rainfall can drown out the forest's natural sounds, making it impossible to hear anything moving near the tent through the night. If the storm masked every sound and the ground held so many unseen creatures, viewers wondered whether she was truly alone out there during those long, rainy hours, or simply unaware of what stayed nearby. On March 31st, 2025, deep in Mississippi, Roman from the channel Roaming Reckless pushed forward on her 50-state road trip with her dog Tazzy. Her videos usually show long stretches of highway, quiet nights spent in her old Land Rover, and the unpredictable moments that come with life on the move. But as she crossed into the state that evening, the weather shifted abruptly, and the night ahead would challenge her more than she expected. The storm arrived instantly.
Oh great, we're in a flash flood warning. Love it. Yeah. Alright. Oh my gosh, my wiper just fell off. My wiper literally just fell off. Oh, I think I see it right there. Luckily, I think it just fell onto the bonnet. This is the weather and I have no wiper. Yep. Welcome to Mississippi. This is nuts. Holy cow. Oh no. My wipers just stopped working altogether. It's cool.
A flash flood alert lit up her screen as heavy rain wrapped around her truck. Visibility vanished almost immediately, the road disappearing beneath the pounding water. Roman kept going, hoping conditions would ease, but nothing changed. Something else was about to fail. In the middle of the downpour, the wiper arm suddenly detached. With sheets of rain hitting the windshield, losing it meant she could barely see the road at all. She pulled over to grab it, but the damage was done. The wiper wasn't coming back to life. With only partial visibility and instinct left to guide her, she searched for a place to stop.
Oh my Hurry up. Go potty. This storm is way worse than last time. Go potty. Go potty. Hurry up. Tazzy, go potty. This is not good. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm absolutely drenched. And we thought Tennessee was bad. Tennessee was nothing. Back at it again, camping in a storm. The flash flood warning is only on for like the next hour though, so I think we'll be fine. Oh my gosh, I have so many leaks in this truck. Dinner tonight is inspired by Kendrick Lamar because in the Peekaboo song, he has this line where he says, "Catch a pepper if I'm doing pasta. Catch a pepper if I'm doing pasta. Why you acting tough on IG Live?" Voila. 3-ingredient pasta. Basically just heating stuff up. Super easy. A little thunderstorm. A little pasta. It's all good. I finished up dinner, changed out of my wet clothes finally, and then Tazzy and I headed up in the alley cab to go to sleep for the night.
She eventually reached a small town and parked long enough to breathe and let Tazzy outside. The rain still hammered the ground, soaking both of them almost instantly. She climbed back into the truck, worn out from the drive and the constant battle with the storm. For a moment, she tried to settle and reset for the night. Inside the Land Rover, she made a quick cacio e pepe and talked about the long hours behind the wheel, the restless feeling that comes from driving all day, and her hope that the worst of the storm had already passed. With the diesel heater running and dinner in hand, the space finally felt peaceful again. At least for a moment. Later that night,
a couple of hours after we fell asleep, the storm picked up actually, and it was worse than it had ever been before. A lightning bolt struck somewhere very close to the truck while we were sleeping, and the crack was so loud, it jolted me at least a foot out of bed, and I am not joking. After that, Tazzy and I spent the rest of the night shaking, and I can genuinely say I have never feared riding out a storm before while camping. It was just so intense, and it felt helpless to be in the middle of such an insane thunderstorm, feeling like a target basically in the woods. That a mouse actually got into my truck and chewed its way through. But more on that later. Anyways, safe to say I was really grateful to wake up in the morning, safe and with the sun shining. Girl, Mama, good girl.
after she drifted off, a lightning strike hit so close it snapped her awake. Both she and Tazzy stayed up afterward, rattled by the sudden blast. By morning, she realized a mouse had slipped inside during the storm, chewing through insulation before vanishing again. She cleaned up, restocked what she needed for the road, and moved on from one of the toughest nights of her journey. Viewers familiar with Mississippi's weather pointed out that storms filled with nonstop lightning often sit near far more dangerous systems. Others admitted they wouldn't have slept through a night like that even in a house, raising questions about what might have passed through the area while she rested. If lightning struck close enough to wake her instantly, and animals took shelter inside her truck, some viewers wondered, had she only felt the edge of that system? Or something much more intense moving through the darkness? March 14th, 2025. Deep in Georgia's Blood Mountain wilderness, Beth from Beth's Midlife Adventure settled into another quiet night on the road. Her channel usually highlights slow, reflective moments from solo van life, but this time, something in the woods felt different. The stillness, the remoteness, and the sense of unseen eyes lingering nearby lasted longer than they should have. She had picked a dispersed spot in the Blood Mountain wilderness, set between flowing water and untouched forest. After several days battling leaks back in Louisiana, the area felt peaceful, almost like a reset. But even in calm places, uneasiness can wait just beyond view.
Today on the Appalachian Trail, and I'm headed to Preacher's Rock, about 2 miles there and back. First time I've ever got a hike on the Appalachian Trail. It's been a dream of mine. I did some hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail, but have never been to the Appalachian Mountain. Everything is kind of dead right now just because of the season. Some things are starting to bloom, but it's gonna be a good hike. When I am hiking, it's definitely when I do most of my thinking. It just gives me space to clear my head and have movement at the same time, so it's like a healthy way to process things. But I just have a lot on my mind right now, and doing this hike, I think it's a perfect way to kind of process through some of those thoughts. And I'm already breathing heavy. I've been down in the south, down in Louisiana for too long. These Appalachian Mountains are getting me out of breath here. The elevation. I'm used to the Sierra Nevadas on the West Coast, so this is nothing, but it feels like a lot right now. So sad. Do you ever hold your breath on the trail when you pass by people so they don't hear how loud, out of breath you are? I do that. I hold my breath. I pretend I'm not dying.
She spent her morning hiking a stretch of the Appalachian Trail toward Preacher's Rock, finally walking a path she had dreamed about for years. The climb was tougher than expected, but meaningful all the same. What she didn't anticipate was how different the woods would feel once she came back to her site.
So something crazy kind of happened today. I was actually sitting in my van. I am pretty deep in the Georgia woods. I'm doing something called dispersed camping out in a wildlife management area where you're allowed to park, like it's public land, certain spots in the woods. I've just been all by myself out here. I'm in this area called Blood Mountain. This car parks behind me and a guy gets out. He literally walks into my campsite, like goes straight up to the creek, and I notice he has a tripod and a camera. I'm like, why is he taking photos right in my campsite? The creek goes the whole way. There's tons of waterfalls. You don't need to come right into my campground. Meanwhile, it's middle of the day, so I do not have my window coverings up. I'm actually sitting up on my bed working on my laptop. Well, then a second gentleman gets out of the car, and I call him a gentleman because he's a little bit older. Okay, like he's going to realize somebody's here because I'm obviously not sitting out. My, as you could see, is like not even 4 feet from the door of my van, yet they're walking in between my fire ring that I have right there that has smoke coming up because I had a fire, and my door. And I see him walk up to my front window where Apollo is sitting in the front seat, and he like is looking in the window, waving at Apollo, talking to him, and I'm like, I am right here. I'm right here working. He's right there in my window. It was so uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, he just saw the cat, he's gonna move on. But no, then he starts looking into my side window right here, my sliding door window. There's all this wide open space. Like, were they trying to intimidate me? He comes up to the foot of my bed where my window is by my feet and is looking into the window into my van. I went into fight or flight mode, and guys, I chose fight. Why did I choose fight? And I did something I should not have done. I opened my door. Hindsight, stupidest thing ever. But I went in there like, excuse me, can I help you? No, I cannot help them. No, why did I open my door? I am not gonna take on 2 grown men by myself. That's just not gonna happen. But that was my instinct. I'm disappointed in myself.
The next day, 2 men pulled in behind her van and walked directly into her space. One set up a tripod inside her campsite, while the older man drifted toward her windows, peering in, first at the front, then at the window beside her bed. When Beth opened the door to respond, she realized immediately she shouldn't have. He claimed he was interested in her van build, but the uneasy feeling didn't leave with them. That night, rest came slowly, the encounter hanging over her long after they were gone. Many viewers felt the men's actions went far beyond simple curiosity. Their direct approach, disregard for boundaries, and intense focus on her van reminded others of similar incidents in isolated areas. Comments insisted her instincts were right, and that moments like this rarely happen coincidentally. So, what were those men really doing there? Just casual hikers or something with a sharper motive? And if Beth hadn't opened her door, Would the situation have taken a different turn entirely?
On September 27, 2024, Josh from Camping with Josh, a channel centered on quiet solo overnights and simple woodland cooking, returned to a small patch of forest not far from his home in northeast England. He hadn't walked these trails since the lockdown years. But as fog settled in and light rain threaded through the canopy, something about the place carried a different edge, almost as though the woods were waiting for him to notice. Josh arrived just after finishing work, the sky already fading, mist weaving through the trees. As he moved farther along the path, he thought about how often he used to roam here before abruptly stopping. Even with familiar ground beneath him, the entire area felt strangely heavy, a sensation he couldn't quite shake. Then he caught sight of something ahead.
You guys gonna think I planned this? I didn't. I think Halloween's coming up, isn't it? Okay. This is a bit weird. Well then. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, guys. I was not expecting that. It looks like some kids have put this bed sheet over a tree stump. I don't know why I'm putting this back on, but I am. Everyone meet Bob. Say hello to Bob. No, Casper. Casper the ghost. Say hello to Casper the ghost. Right. Funny enough, I was playing the camp at that tree there, which is literally right next to this little ghost here. I might have a little venture around, as it might be a bit of a popular spot, but I haven't got too much time. Let's have a look around. I'm not sure if I want to camp by this.
A white cloth hung over a stump, shaped like a crude figure, stood perfectly still between the trees. Josh tried to dismiss it as a Halloween prank, maybe something kids had left behind, but the sight left a tightness in his chest. He kept going, searching for a good camp spot, though the unease followed with every step.
I'm just literally sat over there, trimming the wood down, cutting it down how I like it, and I can just hear some mad movement going on in those bushes over there. I can't tell if it's like the rainfall just making quite a commotion, or there's maybe rabbits or deers maybe walking through, or any dog walkers or whatever, I don't know. Bit spooky. It'd be just the rain anyway. I don't know why I let these things play on my mind sometimes. It happens, you know, guys, it happens. Literally, camping out solo is a wonderful thing for many reasons. But sometimes your mind just plays tricks on you. And you think you can hear like treading through the woods, but can't hear any talking, can't see any torches. It's just me in here, I assume. But I'm gonna carry on, push through, make a fire, enjoy myself.
It didn't take long for the woods to send another warning. While splitting wood, a sharp snap echoed from the brush behind him. He stopped cold, listening as the forest shifted into sudden silence. Birds that had filled the canopy with noise moments earlier went quiet, leaving only distant rain tapping through the branches. Josh waited, hoping it was nothing more than wildlife, but the suffocating stillness suggested something else, and the silence didn't last. When his camera briefly failed, he finally caught movement. Slow, weighted, deliberate, somewhere in the thick growth beside his setup. A dark form pressed through the branches, close enough for him to know it wasn't the wind, and not any kind of animal he recognized. That was enough. Josh left his tarp behind, walked straight out through the fog, and didn't slow down until he reached the forest entrance. Some viewers think Josh may have sensed an actual person hidden in the thicket, pointing to the abrupt silence and the heavy footfalls as signs someone was nearby. Others argue it could have been a large animal. In any case, turning back when he did might have kept him from learning the truth the hard way. So what really moved in those trees? A person watching intentionally, a curious stranger, or something that only approached when the camera couldn't see it? When the forest drops into silence all at once, would you stay long enough to find out? On September 12, 2023, in a quiet parking lot where he planned to sleep for the night. The truck driver behind the channel, Master Truck Driver, captured something far removed from his usual peaceful, solitary evenings. His videos typically feature calm nights on the road, simple meals, quiet moments inside the cab, and rest after long hours of driving. But this time, while trying to settle into what should have been a routine evening in his parked truck, something outside refused to let the night stay ordinary.
What? What is this? Island. Fuck. Whose animals are? I don't know.
He described the first disturbance happening as he made dinner. A sudden knock on the window, sharp enough to cut through the stillness around him. With his flashlight in hand, he aimed it toward the glass, expecting someone to be standing there, but the beam showed nothing. No outline, no movement, only darkness where the noise had come from. He tried to convince himself it might have been the wind, or perhaps a bird brushing past, though it didn't quite make sense. The night clearly had other plans. The tapping returned not long after. As he sat down to eat and watch a video, the knocking came again. Quick, deliberate, impossible to ignore. Every tap chipped away at the sense of calm he was trying to maintain. Then a sudden rush of air swept across the outside of the truck, a fast, sharp whoosh that made him pause mid-bite. Curiosity pulled him outside to look around the parking lot. Yet the area was empty. No people, no animals, nothing that could explain the sounds. While he moved around the truck, the same rushing noise swept past him again. Brief, sudden, and unnerving. That was enough. He went back inside, quietly finished his meal, and chose to end the night without digging further. Whatever stayed outside had no intention of showing itself, and he no longer wanted to know what it was. Some viewers warned that going out was risky, noting that thieves sometimes knocked to get drivers to leave their trucks. Others felt the sounds seemed too concentrated, too purposeful to be anything ordinary. With concerns for safety and the strange quality of the noises, the mystery remains unresolved. If no one was there when he checked, then something else had been moving around that truck, something that knew exactly where to knock. The real question is why it stopped, and what might have happened if he hadn't gone back inside. On September 25, 2025, deep in North Carolina's Pisgah National Forest, Luke from the Outdoor Gear Review set out for another quiet solo overnight. His channel is known for calm backwoods trips, straightforward gear breakdowns, and the odd, unexplained moments he often runs into. But after what had happened the night before, an unfamiliar vehicle pulling into his camp, a beam of light sweeping across the dark, this simple wet weather camp already carried a heavier tone. Luke began the evening by going over the incident that had shaken him. A car rolling straight up to his vehicle deep in the forest, stopping without a word, then speeding off the instant he walked toward it. Later, a flashlight cut silently across his campsite. Quick, controlled, and without explanation. He had considered leaving, but something drew him back. Even so, The woods weren't finished reminding him something felt wrong.
This episode picks up about 10 minutes after last week's adventure. I am out here in the Pisgah National Forest, and currently I am backtracking, going back the direction of the campsite that I had last night. The reason for that is interesting. So I'm making my way out of this area. I pulled over at a nice spot to look at the view, and I see storm clouds gathering off in the distance. I had a little bit of service. I checked the radar, the forecast, and today there's a good chance of rain and thunderstorms. Because of that, I have decided to backtrack. I'm going to stay another night in the Pisgah National Forest. As you all can see, rain is beginning to fall now. Awesome.
With storms closing in, he changed plans. Rather than setting up a tent, he decided to stay inside his 4Runner, using only a tarp for cover. It made sense given the forecast, and also offered a bit of control after the stress of the previous night. But the farther he pushed into Pisgah, the more the forest revealed quiet traces of its own history. At the new spot, the details were unsettling. Trees hacked unevenly, trash scattered around, and a faint impression of people long after they'd gone. Nothing supernatural, but enough to deepen an already uneasy setting. And that impression only grew as daylight slipped away. While cooking, Luke mentioned the Brown Mountain lights and recalled the heated dispute between a man and woman he had seen along the forest road. He also thought about last year's missing person case, a vehicle located with no sign of who had been driving it. By morning, after remembering the scream he had heard the night before and the people who sped off when he approached, he quietly packed up and ended the trip.
And every so often I'll hear it just kind of blowing through the trees. But all in all, it was a good night, nice and quiet. Once I went to bed, I didn't hear anything. I want to say there was maybe like a car or two that went up and down the mountain, but that's about it. When it comes to the drive out of here, we don't have far to go. I want to say it's only a mile or two from the main road. The night before, we stayed 8 or 9 miles up and over these mountains. My friends, this is so much better. The 4Runner is blocking the wind, and I have my heater here. Life is good. Cheers. I wasn't sure that I was going to like this 4Runner as much as I do. Previously, I had a Toyota Tundra, long bed, and a ton of space. But then I decided I really didn't need a vehicle that big. So I got this. It was a good change. In the smaller space, hasn't been a problem. Now, Susie and I can't sleep inside of this thing together. Not unless she's like on top of me or whatever. Vice versa, I don't know. It's early, folks. It's early. Give me a break. But for one person, this works great. I was texting my brother last night. I don't have good data connection out here. I can't surf or anything like that, but I can send text messages. Anyways, I was telling him about the odd experiences that I've had out on this trip in part 1 and in part 2. Just in case you didn't watch part 1. After I set up camp, a vehicle stopped right in front of my campsite and just stayed there long enough for me to get up to go see what's going on. And as soon as I approached the vehicle, they sped off. And then later on in the night, someone's shining a flashlight into my camp from the forest. So I walk out on the road and there's 2 people, I don't know, 30 or 40 yards away. I shine my light at them. They shine their light, they start walking towards me. I start walking towards them thinking they needed something or whatever. And as soon as we got close, they just took off running to a campsite that was apparently across from mine. Then, all of the odd stuff that took place yesterday, I don't know, who knows. Some of it I haven't even spoken about. And I might as well tell you, apparently there's a campsite up here on the hill. I can't see it, but yesterday evening I heard the people who were there. It sounded like a younger woman, I would say teenage, maybe 20s. All that I could hear were the F-bombs that she was screaming out. I don't know if she was talking to someone in camp or someone on the phone, but no one's gonna effing tell me who I can effing date. Seriously.
Many viewers felt his tension was justified, saying remote forests tend to hold more risk from people than wildlife. Comments about break-ins, strange moments on back roads, and unpredictable campers suggested his experience wasn't unusual. Isolated places often attract odd behavior once the sun starts to drop. If the scream he heard wasn't tied to the argument earlier that day, then who else was out there close enough for him to hear, yet far enough to stay hidden? And why choose that exact moment to let him know they were there?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.